What's going on, guys, and welcome to another Doctor Who Classic review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the 4th Doctor Tom Baker story, Terror of the Zygons. This is a story that I've been quite interested in watching. I got it on DVD a little while ago. I finally got around to watching it, and it's one that I've always wanted to see. I haven't watched it before. So, yeah, I don't know, the Zygons have always been a thing. You know, I've always been quite interested in them. Even before they came back in the new series, I've been quite interested in the Zygons, even though I hadn't seen them on screen until watching this episode just last night. So yeah, I was very interested in this, but anyway, let's get into it. This is Terror of the Zygons by Robert Banks Stewart. Returning to Earth, the Doctor, Sarah and Harry arrive in the Scottish Highlands to investigate the mysterious destruction of several oil rigs in the North Sea. Local superstition speaks of a deadly threat that lurks in the mists of Tulloch Moor, but the truth is even more disturbing. The legendary Loch Ness Monster is a terrifying cyborg beast which is controlled by the Zygons, an advanced alien race who are desperate to ensure their own survival at any cost. So quite a nice little blurb on the back of the DVD there. So yeah, let's get straight into this with the cast. We of course start off with Tom Baker as the 4th Doctor. Yeah, I mean, he's great. This is season 13. It's actually episode 1 of Tom Baker's 2nd season. So yeah, I mean, Tom Baker's still on top form here. He's very, very good, as he was, as he really was throughout his whole run. A little bit of a dip in season 18 for his final season, but you know, throughout most of his years, and especially these first few seasons, Tom Baker was on top form, and he is in this story as well. Some really great moments in there. We then have Elizabeth Sladen as Sarah Jane Smith. I love Sarah Jane Smith. She's one of my most seen classic companions, and she's just one of my favourite companions from the classic series, because, you know, they brought her back in the new series as well, so that always helps. But yeah, Sarah Jane Smith, I really like her. She gets quite a bit to do in this story as well, which we'll get into later. But yeah, really like Elizabeth Sladen in this one. And then we also have Ian Marter as Harry Sullivan. This is the first time I've reviewed a story with Harry in it. So that's something, I suppose. Yeah, I quite like Harry. I haven't seen much of him as of yet within my Doctor Whoing. This is, I think, only the 3rd story I've seen him in. So yeah, I quite like him. He's a bit of a different sort of character, you know, kind of being a doctor. Not the Doctor, but being a doctor. I'm pretty sure he is anyway. He is, right? Yeah, it's just something a bit different. You know, we've got the 2 companions here as well. You know, with having 2 companions instead of 1, which was kind of the norm before this, and it would kind of become the norm again after, until Peter Davison took over as the Doctor. But yeah, Harry Sullivan is also very, very good. We've also got Nicholas Courtney as Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart. Of course, he's really good. I really do like the Brigadier. Nothing really else much to say about there. And that's all I'm really going to talk about. I might just... oh, what about the Zygons? I will briefly mention the Zygons. Keith, Ashley and Ronald Goff, I don't know how to pronounce that, play the Zygons. I mean, I suppose they're pretty good. They're the Zygons. What else are you going to say about them? Alright, so now we got to get into the good and the bad. Starting off with the good. Sarah Jane investigating on her own. Now this is something that I believe we did see a little bit of before. I mean, from the episodes that I've seen so far with Sarah Jane, you know, she was doing a lot of stuff in robots on her own. You know, around this time we do get now and again companions kind of going off and doing their own investigating. I do like it when that happens, and this does happen in this. You know, the Doctor's doing his own thing, trying to sort some stuff out, and Sarah Jane goes and asks some questions, asks around, you know, trying to find out what's going on. So I do like that. It just makes the companion a little bit more interesting, gives them a bit more to do. So yeah, just all around making them more interesting to watch. The Doctor doing a lot of running, I thought was very, very good to see. 4th Doctor running, Tom Baker running with his scarf, flailing around everywhere. It looks absolutely amazing. It's kind of just when you think of the Doctor, that's what you think of. Of course, I'm a big fan of David Tennant, the 10th Doctor. He did a hell of a lot of running. And really, I'd say that Tom Baker was the one that started the running off. I mean, Patrick Troughton, I think, did quite a lot of running in his time. I haven't seen much of his era, so I'm not 100% sure, but he did quite a lot of running. John Pertwee never did much running. He was a very action man sort of guy, but he was never really a runner. Whereas Tom Baker running around with his floppy hat and his his flailing scarf, you know, some really good moments when, you know, when he's being chased by the Loch Ness Monster. That's a really, really good scene, although the Loch Ness Monster does look a bit crap, which we'll get to. I thought the chase scene was very, very fun. Just seeing the Doctor running around is always a good thing. The Zygons transforming effect actually looks okay for the time. Yeah, I have a couple of issues with some production values in this story, which we'll get to later. But on the whole though, when the Zygons transform from Zygon to human or vice versa, you know, the effect actually doesn't look too bad. I mean, yeah, it's nothing on, you know, the new series Zygons, when we see the Zygons changing their appearance in Day of the Doctor and in the 12th Doctor Zygon two-parter. Of course, it's nothing like that, but, you know, for the time, this is 1975, I thought it was actually a pretty decent effect. It didn't look too bad. It really didn't. So yeah, that's always something. That's always something nice. It's nice to have a good thing to say about some side of the production value. I mean, yes, if you did that nowadays, it wouldn't look good. But, you know, the thing is, it's really hard with production values with Classic Who, because I look at things and I think, oh, they look really bad now, and they've aged really badly. And I just think, yeah, they probably weren't, maybe they were good at the time, but they have aged really badly now. Whereas that, yes, it wouldn't be used now. I still don't think it's aged that badly though, you know? So that's something nice to say about it. The Zygon set looks very unique and interesting. Yeah, I do like the Zygon's spaceship. It looks pretty cool, kind of underwater spaceshipy thing. It does come out of the water eventually, but I really did quite like that. I thought it was very unique. It almost had a bit of a look to the 10th Doctor, the 9th and 10th Doctor's TARDIS. You know, the kind of corally look to it. You know, it did have that coral sort of look to it, being underwater and stuff, and it reminded me of that a lot. Just the colours and everything really reminded me of the 9th and 10th Doctor's TARDIS. And altogether, I think once again for the time, that was a pretty unique set and a pretty nice looking set. So it's always good to see good sets. A lot of classic sets, especially when they're set on spaceships and stuff, they're all just kind of your normal, boring, bland, you know, corridors everywhere. This one was very, very different, very unique. So very good. Also, the Doctor getting electrocuted I thought was a pretty cool scene when he was, I can't remember exactly what he was doing, but he was trying to stop the Zygons in some way. And, you know, he got electrocuted, and I thought, once again, pretty decent effect for the time. Now that I think about it, some pretty decent effects and productions in this one. A couple of things that I will get to, but, you know, on the whole, effects-wise anyway, pretty good. And then finally, the final battle I thought was pretty good. A lot of fun, you know, Zygons dying and all this good stuff. You know, you've got to have a good final battle, and this one definitely does have that. So now I've just got a couple of bad things to talk about. Starting off with the Zygons' looks haven't aged too well. So yeah, like I said, there are some production values which I don't think are too great in this one. The Zygons just don't look very good. Now the suits themselves don't look terrible, but it's the faces. The faces look a bit strange. One of them, the way that, I don't know, it's just the way they look. They don't look very good. Like I said, there was 2 actors, I believe, at least 2 credited actors who played the Zygons. And, you know, or maybe there was 3 actually. There could have been 3. Broton, that was a Zygon as well, wasn't it? John Woodnuts. But anyway, there was 2 or 3 different actors playing the Zygons. You could tell that they were individual because the I don't know if it was like the masks were kind of sculpted towards their own faces or whatever, but you could tell that they were individuals. So that was, I guess that's a good thing. But at the same time, they did look a bit weird, just with the kind of flat, rubbed up noses, almost looked like Voldemort's, and just the way their eyes moved around in the mask. It looked very much like a costume. It looked a bit too much like a costume for my liking. Back in the day, it probably didn't look too bad, but that's one thing that I think has aged a little bit badly. Also, the Loch Ness Monster, that has aged badly. You've got to agree. I mean, the Zygons, yeah, they're not great, but they're not terrible. Whereas the Loch Ness Monster, that's not aged good. That's not aged good at all. Not quite as bad as the Merca from Warriors of the Deep, which I reviewed the other day, pretty much last week. Not quite as bad as that, but it does look pretty bad. I remember, like, when the Doctor was being chased and he kind of got stuck pinned on the floor, and the the Loch Ness Monster kind of went out to grab him or like moved its its arm into frame. Oh, that looked really CGI-y. Really bad. It didn't look good. And just the Loch Ness Monster itself, yeah, it did not look good. And I don't really think that would have even looked good for the time. There have been better things, better CGI and stuff that I've seen around this time on Doctor Who, so yeah, the Loch Ness Monster, sadly also not the most amazing piece of special effects there. But apart from a few little special effects and, you know, kind of production values, things that really just haven't aged too well, in all honesty, this was a pretty good episode. I mean, it's only a 4-parter, which is always good. I do quite like 4-parters. I think they're the perfect length. Anything over that, 6-parters can be good, but, you know, I do prefer my 4-parters, as long as they kind of do keep moving. This one maybe gets going a little slow. It can be a bit slow at times, but, you know, it takes a while for the Doctor to find the Zygons, which he kind of knows what's going on fairly early on, but it takes him until somewhere towards the end of part 3, from what I remember, to actually find the Zygons. So that does take a while. However, you know, I think the story keeps a relatively decent pace, and it was fairly enjoyable to watch. I'm going to give Terror of the Zygons an 8 out of 10. You know, pretty good story. I did enjoy it. I would watch it again. Not one of my favourites from the Tom Baker era, but it's definitely a good one. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.